Hi you guys, I'm going to show you how to make this roll top dry bag. This bag has a cool little square bottom so it can stand up, okay, I swear it stands up. So it can stand up on its own, just like that. That's pretty much all you really need to know. Roll top dry bag. I made this from a kit from Ripstop By The Roll, which is super cool, and I just added this mod myself. So if you get the kit and you follow the directions that are included with it, you're going to end up with something like this. Also a cool dry bag, but it doesn't have a cool top and it will not stand up on its own. Very sad. So if you want to make this one, the link to that kit is in the description, and you're also going to need to add a little bit of Dyneema tape. There's a certain amount of Dyneema tape already comes with the kit, but we're going to need about 8 inches more, 6 to 8. So the link is in the description again. Now, if you hate kits and you don't want to use the kit and you don't love convenient shopping experiences, I also have an itemized list of everything you need so that you can cobble it all together yourself. Now, with the kits, you pretty much just get the size fabric that you're going to end up using, and it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of control over the size. However, if you want to draft your own pattern and get your own fabric separate from the kit, you can make it to whatever dimensions you want. And if, say, you know that you have a piece of gear that you're really going to want to keep dry and you want to make a special bag just for that thing, and you know the exact dimensions that you want, I have created a PDF to help you create the pattern for that to make sure that your bag ends up the dimensions that you want. So again, link in the description. Check that out. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's get started. So here's what you're going to need. Firstly, with the Ripstop By The Roll kit, you'll get 1/2 inch webbing, 1/2 inch Grosgrain ribbon, and a little side clip buckle. Now, the one that comes with the kit is this larger one, but I like to use this small one. You're going to need some Dyneema tape. Now, if you're ordering that kit from Ripstop By The Roll, you will need a few more inches of Dyneema tape than what comes with that kit, so be sure you're ordering extra. You'll also need some tools that do not come with the kit. I use a bookmaker's bone in order to press down folds. You'll need a lighter, a marker or a pen, scissors of course, and hopefully you won't need a seam ripper, but it does not hurt to have one, just in case. So first, lay out your fabric and fold it in half lengthwise. This is going to be the blank for your bag. Go ahead and press down that fold to make it look nice and crisp. Then we're going to sew a seam along the open, long side of our bag blank. Once you've sewn that seam, fold down the bag blank again, but this time align it so that the seam runs down the center of the flat side of the bag, like so. Next, we're going to sew a seam along the short side, and this is going to be the bottom of the bag. You can see here that I've pressed open the seam allowances on that first seam so that when I sew over it, it looks nice and pretty. If you have trouble keeping your seams straight, just move really slowly and use the edge of the foot as a guide. Next, you're going to use your Dyneema tape to seal those two seams. Now take it easy here. It's pretty fumbly, especially if you're not used to working with Dyneema tape. Just go nice and slow, a little bit at a time, and be very careful not to let it stick to itself. You can see here that I've already done the boxed corners on this bag before trying to go back and seam seal with the Dyneema tape, and this was not the right way to go about it. So I highly recommend going ahead and using your Dyneema tape to seal those first two seams before moving on with the corners. Next, you're going to measure and mark the cutouts for the boxed corners. I'm using 1.5 inch squares, and I'm measuring from that bottom seam up 1.5 inches, and then from the very folded edge of the bag in 1.5 inches. That's going to give me a total of a 3-inch depth measurement. So basically, whatever your measurement of this square is, the depth of your bag is going to be twice that. Go ahead and cut those marked sections out. and you can save those bits to use as patches. This next part's a little bit fiddly. You're basically going to open the cutout corner and then pinch the two inner corners and pull them apart to create one straight line. And then go ahead and sew that closed. Then we're going to go ahead and use our Dyneema tape again to seam seal these corner stitches. This gets a little bit funky in here, so just take your time with it, be careful when folding, and it really helps to keep one hand on the inside of the bag to kind of give you something to work against as you're trying to get those neat corners. Now to finish the top, first we're going to cut our webbing just wide enough to cover 1/2 of the top lip. And don't forget to use your lighter to just gently melt, without injuring yourself or setting your house on fire, just gently melt the edge of that to keep it from fraying. Now you're going to sew the webbing along the top lip of the bag on the back side. That's the side where you already have a seam. You don't have to worry too much about this first seam because really all we're doing is holding that webbing in place. However, you do want to make sure that you don't sew off of the edge of the webbing because you want to avoid adding any additional holes in the Dyneema fabric. Of course, when you're sewing this down, be sure that you're only sewing it to one side of your bag. You don't want to accidentally sew your bag closed. Now you're going to fold the lip of the bag over that webbing twice so that you end up with a nice rolled edge. And you want to go ahead and do that around the entire bag, even though there's only webbing on the one side, so that you have a beautiful, continuous rolled edge. To hold that in place, we're going to do two seams. One is going to be right along the bottom of that rolled edge. You can move as closely as you want to the edge, but again, you want to be very careful not to go off the edge and into the bag itself, because any holes that you accidentally pierce that needle through are going to allow water to get in. And since this is a dry bag, we don't want that. And we're going to do a second seam right along the very top edge of the bag. This is going to result in a really beautiful double-stitched rolled hem. See? Looks really classy, right? Next, we're going to make our grosgrain clip assemblies. So you're going to use a piece of grosgrain about 6 inches long, or if you're using the Ripstop by The Roll kit, just cut what they give you in half. The measurement does not have to be exact. And feed the grosgrain through each side of your clip. And then we're going to sew one little seam right next to the clip, just behind that piece of hardware. Now that we have our grosgrain attached to the clip, we're going to go ahead and sew it to the top of the bag. On the back side of the bag, that's the side that has the webbing and the seam, we're going to go ahead and attach the grosgrain so that the clip just sticks out over the very side of the bag. And you can see that I've sewn it down with a little X design. That's really pretty simple. It's 2 straight stitches and then a stitch that goes lengthwise from corner to corner. And we're done. I hope you guys have a lot of luck and that your projects come out great. If there's any confusion or anything like that, please feel free to drop any questions in the comments and I will do my very best to clear them up. This was my very first YouTube video, so any feedback or comments would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching to the end and have a great day.